I'm here because I'm also the Executive Secretary of the Global Fuel Economy Initiative, and we're here to show the results of a campaign we've been running to generate lots of interest in countries in working with us to improve the fuel economy of their fleets because of the carbon impact, which is huge, because of the money savings, energy savings and so on.
And which countries are you working with? What kind of projects?
So we work in a whole range of countries, 27 at the moment, countries as diverse as Mauritius, Kenya, Indonesia. And in those countries we do capacity building work. It's really quite mundane, but it's really important, helping them to understand what their fleet of cars looks like. In other words, what fuels they use, how many cars they import, how big their fleet's going to get, what that will mean for them, and then what policy options they have to address, in particular, the fuel use of their vehicles.
Shouldn't we all be taking the train rather for the climate's sake?
Yeah, we should. I'm no apologist for the car, but all of the projections show that we will still be driving cars by 2050. In fact, quite terrifyingly, 3 times as many cars as are being driven now. So, of course, absolutely, we should be avoiding their use. We should be shifting to other modes, and my foundation supports work in that area too. But on this issue, we're throwing away resources. Those vehicles we will be driving need to be efficient. They could be efficient, much more efficient, and they're not just because the manufacturers aren't putting the technology in. Sorry.
And you've got a report with you.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So we published this report today. We term the State of the World report on fuel economy. It basically identifies how far short we are of these targets, which is very depressing, how much more needs to be done, and what can be gained, and tells you a bit about the work that we do in countries. So it's a good read.
Gripping bedtime reading, I'm sure. And while you're out here, I mean, there's so much going on in Paris. There's not only the main negotiations, but there's cities and mayors and people. What's your main focus? Who do you want to talk to? What are you trying to do?
What we're trying to do is talk to countries, probably, I think, is our focus. We have this ambition of getting 100 countries on board for our work. In the run-up to the COP, we've engaged 40 new countries, so that is wonderful, and that's the great thing about the COP, about the action agenda. It's giving countries and those who take part something to focus on, to show what can be done. I think it's really important we don't just all explain how tough things are and how bad they're going to be, but that we show what can really easily be achieved. And the work we do is all cost-effective, existing technology. It's motherhood and apple pie, it's free, we ought to be doing it, but we're not.
It's ready to roll. And is there anything you want to see from the negotiators in a climate deal to support that work?
I think there has to be a really clear commitment to efficiency. It's a least sexy option, nowhere near as much fun as new ideas and new technologies and silver bullets, as they're called. But it's low-hanging fruit. It's there to be taken. Could save us an awful lot of CO2. Cars, if we did what we're saying, we could save 33 gigatons of CO2 by 2050 and $8 trillion. So it's there to be taken, and I really want the negotiators to think big and to be imaginative, of course, but also not to forget the things that could already be done.
Great, thanks very much.